Hi everyone and welcome to this review of Otto by HP. We're gonna check out Otto today and we'll first take a look at where you can get it, how easy it is to assemble, how accessible the editors are, and last but not least, how much fun you can have with it. So let's get right into it. First of all, you can buy the kit that is currently available, so that's the starter kit. You can buy it from Moravia, so the website is directly linked from the otto-hp site, and there's two versions of it. So we have the builder kit, which is about 150 euros, and it comes with everything included, means the 3D printer part and all the electronics that you need. And the second option is the creator kit, which is 130 euros and comes without the 3D printer parts. Since I just wanted to get started, I opted for the builder kit. And it reached really fast. So about, I don't know what, a couple of days, like a handful of days, not much. I was really surprised at how quickly I received Otto. Another thing I'd like to mention is that when I got Otto, I couldn't open it immediately because work and so on. I just didn't have the time. And after a few days, I got a message from Moravia saying that, hey, we noticed that in your kit, the battery cover most likely is not gonna fit. So we will send you a replacement. And that's what I did. And when I finally did manage to get to open up Otto, I was really happy that I had the replacement in hand already. So that was also really fast, and I could get started right away. I had everything I needed. And yeah, I'll show you a bit of assembly later. So just like a quick flip through the parts of the assembly. So it's really, it's really easy to do. Let's move on to the editors. So they have a few editors. First of all, there's the Open Icon Blocks editor, which is pretty simple. It's only using icons. So it's like for kids, just, it doesn't have as many options as the others. So it's just like for getting started with Otto, if you're a child, it's more like the target group, I'd say. The Open Word Blocks editor is a lot more comprehensive, has more options and so on. Then there's a simulator. If you don't have an Otto, you can anyway get started with it, and you'll have, as you can see here in the image, you will have a simulation of Otto that will react just like the real deal. So that's really cool. I'll show you that as well later. Next we have the control. So it's like supposed to be a remote control with a few options. Let's get started with the Open Icons Block editor. In order for you to see what's going on, I will show you Otto. Just give me a moment. All right, camera rolling, and let's switch on the little guy. And you'll see the circle of light. It's really cool. I like it. It's like hidden under the plastic, but it really shines through quite well, so you can really see it really good. Next thing to do is you need to connect Otto. So we're connecting it with a USB cable, and you see it's green, everything is fine. Now what happens is every program that you write is basically starting with this little icon here. It's the beginning of the program. You can open programs that you have saved previously, or you can just start from scratch. So either thing works. And let's start from scratch here. So let's say we start the program, we wait 1 second, so it's like a timer. Then we drive, and this, I got duped here earlier. So this one is actually forward, which makes sense because it's pointing forward. But since Otto is facing the other way, I got confused because it kept driving towards me. So technically it's correct, but because of the position of Otto relative to me, I assumed a different movement. So I was like, what's going on? But yeah, it's actually correct. So this one moves forward, as you would expect. This one plays some kind of, oh no, now we, okay. that was not intentional. Be careful when you click on this accumulation of icons here, it will immediately upload the program to Otto and execute. It's the same as pressing this button here. So let's say we want to drive forward, we want to have this happy sound, and then we want to drive backwards again. That should be this one here. And what else? Then we maybe want to flash some light. Okay, let's give that a try. So forward, happy sound, backwards, and okay, whatever this is not happening. Let's just make this whole thing a bit simpler. Just go with this one here and say, I don't know what, green. Okay, So here I would expect like this rainbow, but it's not working. So we did see that the lights do work, but for some reason these components do not seem to do what they're supposed to do. Let's see what this does. Okay, this one works. So this just turns the entire ring into the given color. Yeah, so that works. So it's strange that some of the others don't seem to work. This one, let's take a different color. Okay, this one doesn't seem to do anything. And let me see if this combination works. So I think this one switches the ring off, but this one then does nothing. Let's try one more time. No, okay. Doesn't work, not sure why. Next up we have the ultrasonic sensor, so we can say, hey, if something is less than 5, do X. So for instance, what you could do is you could have a whole new section here. It's basically like an if condition. Let's take this away. And now here we have the LED matrix and the OLED screen. Neither of these are part of the starter kit. However, you can get these with expansion kits. So I can't show you right now because I haven't set it up, but we will get to that in another video. Now, basically the editor works pretty well with a few exceptions of these here. And this is basically how you can also flip through the elements. It's more like for really small children, I'd say, to get started, or like for someone who really doesn't have any experience and is doing this for the first time. So for those, this is a nice way to get started. However, the more interesting editor is, of course, the Open Words blocks editor. And this we'll look at next. As you can see, it has a lot more options, so we'll go through those in a minute. First, I will start by loading an existing project. Here we go. And you will see I need to make some changes because I was playing around with something and I'm pretty sure there's no temperature sensor on Otto, so these things here won't work. You can actually just use the keyboard to delete them. So let's put this back here and I'll explain a few concepts using the stuff, and let me save this actually as well. Save. Okay, replace. Now, first of all, as before, we will need to connect to Otto. Let me start a camera so you can see Otto as well. All right, here we go. There's Otto. And let's first connect via USB. Ba-dum! Success. Green icon, green is good. Now, this is where you deploy the program as before. This is where you can stop execution of the program. And this uploads something. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what this save code to Otto. I guess it uploads the program as well, but so does that. Yeah, not sure what's the difference. By the way, here you can also choose different languages. So let's say we have English now. It's funny that they use the pretzel for German. Okay, let's go back to English. And you will also notice that if I do that, my project actually gets cleared, so you need to reopen it. Be careful if you haven't saved, don't switch languages, or I would expect you lose your project. So we connected again. Then you also have some lessons, so if you want some, getting started, it will explain a few things to you, some things that you can do, like with the buzzer, what it means, how to use conditionals and so on. I will just walk you through the program that I have. It covers a lot of these aspects, I'd say. And this one switches over to MicroPython. So here you can actually see your code in MicroPython. Also, you have this option here. So you can take the entire view, which is kind of nice when you actually want to code something. And super important for troubleshooting and understanding what the heck is going on is the monitor. Note that the other editor I showed you before doesn't have this option, which is a bit of a bummer, but then again, it's meant to be simple, the other editor, so I kind of understand why it's not there. But yeah, now let's look at the code that we've written here. So it's basically the same principle as before. We have Otto connected. Let's just execute a code and see what happens. So here's Otto. You can see we're printing the ultrasonic sensor value. The distance is 16. If I put my hand here, you can see the distance is 5 now. And you can also hear that something different is happening. The same is true for the color wheel up there. So if I remove my hand again, it will play the other part of the code. So let me stop him right there. It's a very useful button here. Now, what's going on? First of all, we're turning the lights off. So if you go, I think here. So this is where you have control over all the lights. You can do various things with them. And the other component we're using is the ultrasonic sensor. This is the one here that can measure like distance, right? So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, do the following forever, turn off the lights, then use a variable. You have these here, you can configure a variable, then you can change it later, assign a value to it and so on. So we're creating a variable called ultrasonic sensor. We are assigning the ultrasonic distance to it in centimeters. So like, 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, whatever. And we're rounding the value. Then, and this one has been really helpful for me because this one prints to the monitor here. So if you ever have problems, I really recommend using this to troubleshoot what's going on. Because I had some problems with the ultrasonic sensor and I kind of thought my sensor was broken, but most of the things I tried seemed to indicate that it's actually fine. And then in the end, I figured out that the problem was with my code. So the serial monitor really helped here. So basically what it's doing is saying ultrasonic sensor and it's printing the value of the variable we had assigned from the ultrasonic distance. So it's basically printing the distance. That's why when I move my hand, the value printed changes. And then here we have a simple if else. You can also do more complicated ones. The controls you can find here. So you have pretty much everything, like if, you have loops, forever loops, for loops, yeah, everything you can kind of think of programming wise. And then it does like, hey, if the ultrasonic sensor value, so the distance is less than 10, do something, and otherwise do something else. So pretty simple. You can see that we are using some comparison here. So this is coming from the math functions that we have. And talking about functions, we also have functions. So you can basically define a blob of code and reference it elsewhere then. So if you have code that you want to reuse, this is a really good way to do it. So here we call less than 10, and less than 10, what it does, it executes this bit, it plays the happy sound, it creates a rainbow effect, and it changes the eye color. So let's give this a try. So it means we have to have, wait a second, we have to have something close, and in this case less than 10 is, this one here is executed. So we have the happy sound, the rainbow effect, and we're changing the eye color to red and blue. And next, after that, if we remove our hand, this part gets played. Confused sound, cycle effect in blue, and we're changing the eye color to yellow and green. Works pretty well. If you want to save your project, you can do so. You can make changes, save it again. So that's really useful. Let's stop this. There's other things you can do. However, as I mentioned in the previous editor, some of the things that are listed here you cannot actually do yet because you need an expansion kit. So an example is the OLED screen is part of an expansion kit. I think it was the emote kit. These are not, for all I know, these are not available for purchase yet. Then you have a matrix LED, I think it's also part of the emote kit. And you can do some cool stuff here, but not out of the box. So you need these expansion kits to do these things. So it would be kind of cool to hide this in the editor when they're not, when you can't actually use them. So ultrasonic we have, color lights we have. MP3 is something that I struggled with to understand. It later turned out that MP3 is actually also part of an expansion kit. So you'll actually get an MP3 player that you can install on Otto, and then you can play MP3s. So I played around with it and I got really confused. I was like, how am I going to put MP3s there and so on? So the answer is it's an expansion kit. It's a different kit. These kind of things, they work with a buzzer. So just like the confused or the happy sound, you can do these even in the beginning. Then of course you have motion, move forward, you know, you have two motors left and right. Let me stop you right there, Otto. So you have motors left and right. You can rotate forward, backward, you can calibrate, something I should do because I haven't done it yet. And you also have events. Off the bat with the base kit, you don't have a lot of ways to trigger something. So you mostly have this distance here that allows you to trigger some kind of action. With the expansion kits, you will have more options to trigger stuff. So, for instance, you'll have a button. You will have, what else? I think there was a hygrometer, if I'm not mistaken. There was a microphone, so there's like a lot more options. And of course, you can always use MicroPython. So that's, I think, ultimately that would be the most interesting thing. But just to get started and to get an idea of how to address all these things, this is really helpful, especially being able to switch between these seamlessly. So tuck, 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 it's kind of nice. That's it for this editor. All right, next, let's take a look at the web control. So that's like a remote control. Basically, there's some general instructions here. If you click on a question mark, it explains, there's also like a forum entry about how to set this up. But generally it should be like, you click here, some code is being uploaded to Otto, you need a cable for that, and then you should tap the Bluetooth icon, make sure your robot is powered on, and then pair with it. So let's try that. These are the cards, so these are like actions that you can perform on Otto. And here's an explanation, usually like what this does. So the little question mark here gives you an explanation. And then right now I'm able to edit these things. I can add like a different, I don't know. Okay, let's use the same here. So we have this twice now, don't really need it twice. Yeah, delete widget. So once we are like, okay, good, this is, all that I need, we can lock this in, and you will see the question marks, they disappeared. So you can only get the instructions when you are in this kind of edit mode of the remote. Now we've uploaded our code already, that should be done. And now let's try to connect. So we see a bunch of things, a lot of things. That's Otto. I've never tried this, so this is interesting. Let me actually show you Otto so you can see what he's up to. All right, here we go, Otto, welcome. Let's see if this works now. It does! Okay, then previously I made the mistake of not connecting to Bluetooth. I somehow thought that connecting with a cable was, because every other editor works with a cable, I thought it was kind of the same here, but not true. I guess the hint would have been an open remote control and that little Bluetooth icon, but unfortunately it kind of didn't reach me. Here you can see 16. If I put my hand here, it's now 2. I move it a bit, it's 4, 6. I remove my hand at 16. I put my hand back at 3. So this is really cool for kids to play around with. These are the eyes. You can do like change the color, I guess, like purple and yellow. And you can see it's instant, right? So his left eye is purple now. His right eye is yellow. Now it's blue. Now we make purple red. So cool, that works. We can move him too. So I can go forward, stop. Can we go backwards until you stop? We go that way and that way. And now maybe we can make him, no, stop. Turn back. Okay, wait. One more time. Now, okay. Now he's back in position. And that's the remote control. Next, let's check out the simulator. We can open it here. And the simulator lets you actually play around with the editor without needing a real Otto. So that's really handy to get started, or if you're waiting for Otto and you can't wait and you want to try stuff out, this is the way to go. There's different views of Otto here. So we have the starter kit view that has all the components included in the starter kit. So here are the motors, this is the LED light, and then there's some other stuff. Here's the sound bit, the buzzer I think it's called. And here is the ultrasonic sensor. And you can also make some changes here. So you can see, I can set the distance because we don't actually have a distance, so I can set it myself. Then we have a temperature sensor here, humidity, potentiometer, and line sensor right and left. So you can, and these are the motors. I don't think you can do anything here. No, doesn't look like it. Here you can change the light sensor, the line sensor right, line sensor left. And I think that's it. Potentiometer, you can change the values, and temperature and stuff you can change in here. So this is the OLED view, which means you would see the face here. Now I thought a bit about this, and I think what would be cool, because there will be expansion kits of Otto, and of course you have the starter kit. So the actual Otto that you end up with might be a combination of these. So people might remove these ultrasonic sensors and instead put the OLED screen. So what would be nice if you had a default like we have here, but that it's possible to build your own configuration so that you can basically assemble your own Otto here, the Otto that you want to work with, that you want to try out. And then you just need one view, because right now the quote-unquote issue with this view is if I'm here and I'm looking at the OLED screen, then I'm unable to see this one here, or generally see what's going on here, because this one would light up. Let me actually show you an example of that. Let's try to build one. So sorry, not this one. Let's start with where is it? Sensing. No, I think this was the color lights here. So let's do the rainbow effect. I think it's this one. This one should do. Let's just try that out. Okay, not exactly rainbow, but it cycles. Do we have like a rainbow? No. Okay, good enough for me. So it cycles, and basically I forgot something. Where's the control? So we want to repeat this forever, right? So what we're doing here, we're doing it forever. So if you start it now, it should just do its thing and then jump back to the beginning, and it just keeps cycling. And at the same time, I want to display something on the OLED screen. Let's just show something like that. Showing the eyes. You have different, you can look at this. So it's different from the other one. So now what should happen is it should do this kind of animation, and it should also set the eyes. Just realized to notice the difference. We'll have to go and do something else here. Let's say we use this one. And we stop it again, and we start it. So now it should this one, and now it goes for a smile. Okay, now you can see some crazy light flashing going on. But generally speaking, there's something going on this screen, and there's also something going on this screen, right? So you cannot, since this tiny thing here is just, it's not a preview even, it's just like a static image, you cannot see what's going on both of these elements. So if you were able to assemble your own Otto and configure it and say, show the OLED screen here, and show, I don't know what, the MP3 player here, or whatever you end up configuring, because you have like 11 slots, right? And that's like about all you can fit on there. So I think it's not even necessary. Maybe you can offer some default configurations here. So maybe, you know, you have a configuration for the expansion kit with the emote expansion kits, in which case you would, for instance, have the OLED screen, or maybe you have an expansion kit for that includes the microphone. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. Also, you can see the serial monitor here. You cannot switch to Python, interestingly, from what I see. So that would be kind of cool as well, if you could switch to Python, because essentially the editor is more or less the same than the other one. Let me just write something. I don't know what. Otto's alive works well. So, and then, yeah, we just print it on a serial monitor. So that's kind of helpful for debugging. But I'm really surprised there is no Python. Yeah, so that could be one thing to add as well. And that is it for the simulator. So that works really nicely. I have also tried the distance. Sorry, where is it here? So the distance, I tried that too. That works as well. I can actually also show you that real quick by loading the other project. All right, now we've loaded the project. It's basically the same one that we looked at before. So same logic here. We're using the ultrasonic sensor to determine what the Otto has to do. And right now we have a distance of 64, which means we will always end up here, which should be more or equal to. And you can see it's going through here with a blue cycle. That works. Really cool to see. And you can also see the serial monitor is printing what it should. So yeah, all good. Really nice way to try out Otto if you don't have it yet. Definitely can recommend. And my suggestion is consider being able to assemble your own Otto here, and maybe even save your configuration, because then, you know, you don't have to redo it every time. That's it for the simulator. And next up we have the verdict. So I will be rating in 3 categories. That is assembly, how easy is it to put this together, accessibility, how easy it is to get started, to use the programs that are available, and to generally find your way around the product. And third is, how much fun can you have with it? Let's get started with assembly, and I will be showing you actually parts of the assembly video that I made while I was putting this together.
Assembly was really easy. So I did make a few mistakes, but they were my own fault. So the instructions are very clear. The manual that comes with the product is really well thought out. The only thing that I noticed was that some images are like there's some kind of zoom in images, and the rotation of these is a bit different than the schematics you're looking at. That made it a bit confusing for me at times, but generally it was really easy to follow the instructions and so on. So assembly, definitely 4 stars, no question. Next up is accessibility. So how easy is it to find your way around the product and, start programming and so on, get information that you need, like hardware information, schematics, just a searchable kind of comprehensive documentation. And I found that while there is some information, there is a forum, there are some lessons, I found like a really comprehensive all-in-one guide that I can search for keywords is missing. However, I know there's some things still being worked on in that regards, so there's good stuff to come, and that would definitely lift it up to a 4 eventually. But right now, for me, a 3 out of 4, especially given the target group of schools and, children, I would say. This is not quite there yet, but it's definitely going in the right direction. Last but not least, let's talk about how much fun can be had with Otto. So for me right now, this is a 3.5 out of 4 for the starter kit. If you also take into consideration the expansion, that is most likely going to be a 4 out of 4. Because with the starter kit, the main way of interacting is the ultrasonic sensor, so you can measure distance. And this is your main way of communicating or, having any kind of interaction with Otto. And in the expansion kits, you'll actually get a lot of new additional ways to interact with Otto. There will be a microphone, there will be a button, and there's a lot of other stuff. So that's going to be really cool. But I am currently evaluating the starter kit here, and for me the starter kit is a 3.5 out of 4 for fun. Thanks so much for listening. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.